All right, so at this point, Ford is throwing around 800 horsepower V8 muscle cars like it's nothing. Like at this point, every Mustang that rolls off the line comes equipped with the baseline of 800 horsepower plus, right? It started with the GTD, which is a $300,000 track-focused Nuremberg monster, 800 horsepower, top speed of 190. Then it trickled its way down to the Super Snake, which is basically the GT500, 830 horsepower V8 engine. Now they're coming out with the GT350 and 350R, 810, 830 horsepower for the track-focused version. They're just throwing around 800 horsepower like it's nothing, all powered by V8 engines in 2025. You know what I mean? Speaking of V8 engines and power, Chevy Corvette ZR1, 1,064 horsepower, twin turbo V8. That beats everything that Dodge has ever presented, right? Hellcat, Red Eye, Jailbreak, Superstock, Demon, Demon 170, beats them all. If you want to jump ship, I can't blame you one bit, because all these other manufacturers are making strong, valid points for you to jump ship. Let's get into it. What's up, guys? It's your boy Knockout 360 here with another video, man. So you can tell I'm in a house that makes this a house vlog. You know what's going down. Let's get into it. Car content, car shows, car reviews, car meets, anything and everything car related happens on this channel. So if you're into that, make sure that you stick around. For everyone else, hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so that you know what's coming out and when it's coming out. So boom, I'm gonna go ahead and put you up. So in the past, the GT350 would give you about 530 horsepower, right? Just enough to get you a car length ahead of a Scat Pack. Well, Ford said that's not enough. 800 horsepower. 2024 GT will be a 5-liter V8, 486 horsepower. Now, that's the base GT. That's a Scat Pack right there. And then, of course, the dark horse is going to be 500. We've already talked about that. Well, that's not enough. 2025 Shelby GT350 has a supercharged 5-liter V8 engine that produces 810 horsepower, okay? Has a supercharged 5-liter, lowered suspension, performance suspension, and then, of course, that's not enough. They want to give you an R variant, kind of like what Chevy did with the Z01 and Z01 LE. They want to give you a track-focused version. Integrated roll cage, aggressive aerodynamic, street-legal track car, and it's giving you 830 horsepower. Now, you and I both know nothing's cheap in this world. Nothing's cheap in this world. You're going to pay 6 figures for it. It's going to start you out at about 109,000, right? Let's just be real here. You got to pay to play, unfortunately. You're getting 800 plus horsepower, 109,000. Ford is probably going to try to mark it up a little bit, so you might walk out a little under 120, something like that, 115. You know what I mean? And then, of course, they've always had their Super Snake version, 830 horsepower, next generation S650 Mustang. You know what I mean? Powered by a 4th gen Coyote 5-liter V8, you know? And then, of course, they've always had their GT variant, which was the Nuremberg track-focused monster, most powerful, most sophisticated Mustang that Ford has ever released. 5.2-liter V8, 800 horsepower, 8-speed dual clutch transmission, top speed of 190 miles an hour. But once again, you got to pay to play. That thing's going to run you about 300. Thou wow. Speaking of big money, Corvette, Chevy, they're in the game as well. They've been playing around too, right? For first Z01 Corvette C8, 1,064 horsepower, mid-mounted twin-turbo V8. Mid-mounted twin-turbo V8, right? The Demon 170 was 125 with the supercharged V8. That's not enough. It's lighter, lower to the ground, more aerodynamic, and it's got more power. Once again, you're going to have to pay to play. I've already seen those starting at 175 plus, so, you know, you'll be lucky to find that a little under 200,000. But the fact of the matter is, guys, and, you know, I've already been told, I've already seen on Dodge dealership lots that the 2024s and 2025 Chargers are slowly being delivered, and they're already discounting those cars heavy. Like, it's bad enough when you order a car as a dealership, not even a customer. The car gets here, and then literally within the same week, you're already offering 10,000 off, 5,000, 8,000 off. You know what I mean? We've talked about this in a previous video. Let's see, 2024 Dodge Charger. See what I'm saying? Look at my city, right? Let's say my state, to be quite honest with you. Boom. This one has an MSRP of $70,970. They're letting it go for $64,800. They're already taking $6,000 right off the top, or $5,000 right off the top. Once again, 70,670. They're letting it go for 66,995. You know what I mean? 68, they're letting it go for 66. 66, they're letting it go for 60. This is up at Steve White. You're gonna get a real good discount up there. Dodge Charger Daytona, so this is the big boy. MSRP of 85,170. They're letting it go for 83. These cars haven't been on the lot more than a month, and they're already discounting them anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000. These cars are going to sit. They're going to rot. Nobody wants them. Nobody asked for them. Nobody wants the technology. Nobody wants the performance. Nobody wants the looks. More people are going to jump ship and move to Ford and Chevy, if not to the exotic realm and the Germans and everything else market, or whatever the case may be, which is honestly where I'd like to be. I'd love to have me a, what is it, a AMG GT, what is it, AMG GT, yeah, AMG GT 63 Coupe, yeah, with that V8 bi-turbo engine, 600 horsepower, I'll take that all day long, thank you. But a lot of people are jumping ship, man. You know, and a lot of these companies are making it interesting. I mean, let's go back with Ford, man. Let's just go back to Ford and let's just look at the Mustangs in general. Here they are. Of course, you got your EcoBoost, you know what I'm saying, at the bottom. But the Mustang GT, this is 486 horsepower. Starts at 42,000. Now, of course, you're gonna have to pay for that. You're not walking out at 42,000. Then, of course, they got the Dark Horse, which is right at 60. That's 500 horsepower. Dark Horse Premium. Then you got the GT350. Then you got the 350R. Then you got the Super Snake. And then you've got the GTD. You've got a lot of options for power when it comes to Ford. And this is good old-fashioned V8 power. I can't hate Ford, man. I mean, I've always been a Ford guy to some degree. It's been in my family. I grew up with Ford. I mean, before we had Hellcats and Scatpacks, we had Ford Mustangs. You know what I mean? I mean, we've always had Super Bs and you know, RTs and shit like that. Don't get me wrong. But for like 10 years, maybe 20, Dodge just kind of, you know, they stepped out of that realm, right? They didn't have a Charger or Challenger. They had the Magnum. Then that spurred into the Charger and Challenger. Before, like, you know, when I was growing up, there was a certain period where it was just Ford Mustang, or it was Chevy Camaro or Chevy Corvette, mostly Chevy Camaro. That was back when the Camaro was, you know, the big thing. But even state troopers was driving Camaros back then. But that's what it's getting back to at this point. It's getting back to the big two instead of the big three. Ford and Chevy, power versus power. You know what I mean? I would not be surprised if Ford dropped some sort of Mustang variant that's 1,000 plus, or gave you some sort of option to where you can take your Ford Mustang and drop something on top of it, and that's another 1,000. A bigger supercharger, 3.5 liter, 4 liter supercharger, something stupid. You know what I'm saying? And turn it into a 1,000 horsepower monster. I'm simply making this video to say, guys, I don't blame you. You know what I mean? One of my homeboys just traded in his Scat Pack for a Dark Horse, and he's got that gray, dark grayish blue looking Dark Horse, and it's gorgeous, man. I sat on the inside of it. I love the infotainment, the big screen. It's gorgeous, man. I'm not a fan of two-seaters. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a fan of coupes. I like big cars, and I like cars that I can stretch out in. You feel me? Cars that I can throw something in the back seat. I'm cool with sedans, to put it to you like that. I'm not a big fan of coupes, but it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I saw a blacked out Ford Mustang GT. I don't know if it was a Dark Horse or just a GT. Blacked out, black rims, black tint. Gorgeous. It looked like he had just washed it. Clean, gorgeous, beautiful. It's one of those cars where it makes you look at your Scat twice. You know, makes you look at your Cat. Oh, not your Cat, because nobody's going from a Cat to a 5.0 or a Dark Horse. You got to go up. You got to go 350, 350R, Super Snake, GT. You know what I'm saying? But if you are in the market for more power and you want raw American power, you don't want this inline six electric BS, I don't blame you. I've seen one Charger on Instagram that this one guy has, and I don't even know if he bought it, to be honest with you, because he still has the paper tags on it. He's been doing donuts and burnouts. He tinted it out, threw some graphics and shit on the front windshield. He did a burnout recently where he was slinging and sliding it, and it sounded fake as fuck. You know, fake as F, excuse my language. It just sounded fake. The startup sounded fake. Sounded like something that came out of Back to the Future, you know. And I don't like the interior. I don't like how big the bezels are around that center screen. I don't like anything about it, man, to be honest with you. It's not an ugly car. I've seen them in person. I think you can add some personality to it if you lowered it, maybe change the rims, blacked out the tint. I think it'd be a different car, but it's still a box. That's literally all it is, a brick on wheels, an electric brick on wheels. Nobody wants that in 2025. And then, of course, with this new administration, you know what I mean? He's already repealed and rolled back all that electric bullshit. So all that stuff about by 2030, everything has to be electric, he rolled that back. So we're going to see more V8s, you know what I'm saying? More V10s, more V12s, more big engines. He's perfectly fine with that, and I am too, to be honest with you. Ford is already ahead of the game. Chevy's ahead of the game. Dodge thought that they were going to be the first ones to the dance with that electric BS, and it didn't work. It has backfired. And I truly believe that once those 24s and 25s start hitting dealership in mass, they're just going to sit, or in abundance, they're just going to sit and rot. The same way that they've still got 23s and 24s on the lot, they're just going to sit and rot. Nobody wants those cars. Nobody asked for them. You know what I mean? You're sitting here trying to push an inline six or an electric fake exhaust BS. Meanwhile, Ford just gave you a 350 that gives you 800 horsepower from a V8. They got rid of the 5.2 liter Voodoo engine. They're just sticking with the 5.0 at this point. You know, a lot of people didn't like that. A lot of people wanted that 5.2 liter Voodoo V8, but I'm not a Ford guy, so I off the top of my head I can't really tell you the difference. But I mean, 800 horsepower is 800 horsepower, man. You know what I mean? People have options, you know? Now, if you already got your Scat Pack and you're happy with it, keep it, keep it, keep it. There will never be another Charger Challenger that looks like that. Do not jump ship if you are happy with what you have. You got your RT, you happy with what you have, don't jump ship. Honestly, even if you have a Hellcat, I'm not a Pardon the interruption here, but this video is sponsored by CarLock. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, CarLock. CarLock is a car security device that I stand by and recommend for some extra car security and peace of mind. If you own a Dodge Charger or Dodge Challenger, check them out by clicking the link in the description below. Use my code Knockout360 for an additional 10% off, as well as a free 14-day trial. Go to their website at carlock.com to confirm the fit for your make and model. It's a simple OBD plug-in device and an app that comes along with your iPhone as well as your Android at the App Store as well as the Google Play Store. Let's get back to the video. Fan of jumping ship with the Hellcat, because the Hellcat was such a revolutionary type of platform, and it's such a beautiful car, and the name of it, people to this day are still buying Scats and Cats. Don't let the market fool you. People are still out there signing, you know, leases and ownership agreements to purchase Scat Packs and Hellcats. They're still selling. So, you know, by all means, keep it, you know, because that was the golden age of muscle for Dodge. Right now it's the golden age of muscle for everyone else. You know what I mean? So ultimately, guys, I'm just saying we have options. You know, Dodge does not have us in the chokehold like they did in the past. We have options, big power options, right? But of course, you got to pay to play. All of these options are looking at about 100,000 plus. GT350, 350R, they're starting at about 108, 109. You know what I mean? The Shelby Super Snake, once again, I wouldn't say Snooper Snake. The Shelby Super Snake, once again, same thing. I think that's starting at 120, 130. You know what I mean? Let me see if I can just build this out just for giggles. Let's go with the 2025 Super Snake, build-in price. Yeah, see, the Super Snake package is already 104 in and of itself. And then the base chassis is 65,000. So what are they saying? 170, 169? So yeah, let's assume 170, 169 for a Super Snake. You're going to have to pay to play. 6 figures is pretty much the minimum at this point. You know what I mean? But you have options is what I'm saying. You don't have to be pigeonholed into what Dodge is selling. You have options, you know? So like, subscribe, comment, guys. Talk to me, man. Ford definitely dropped the bomb with the 350 and the 350R, 800 plus horsepower with the supercharger on top of it. Come on, man. That's ridiculous. That's the baseline for Ford right now is 800. The baseline for Dodge was 700, and they built off of that. The baseline for Ford is 800, and they're building off of that. Like, subscribe, comment, man. It's been your boy Knockout360, man. Peace.